in the center office building on the second floor if you'd like to join us on 301 Main Street. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, this meeting will be conducted in person and via remote means in accordance with applicable law. Meeting may be accessed remotely via the town's website on channel 191 or by dialing 774-304-1455 and entering 1428 pound for the meeting number and 12345 for the access code. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation can be found on the town's website. We have a quorum check. Roy?
Roy Bishop, present.
Stephen Chittister, present.
And online?
Eric Gaspar, present.
And Ed Goodwin, present. All right. So we are, Becky, what do you want to do? We don't have, he is not here.
Right. We have a few smaller things that we can go over while waiting. Our first public hearing's at 6:10.
Yep.
All right, so we can go to number 7 on the agenda. So this is 9 Evergreen Lane. This is a request for a certificate of compliance. Just trying to find my notes here. For a partial issuance of that certificate of compliance. The orders of conditions was for the complete subdivision there. I did pull out the, oh, there's the cat. The plans went by the site. Property doesn't appear to be within the buffer zone. It's just recorded on that deed because of the original orders of conditions for the subdivision. So therefore, I recommend issuing the partial COC releasing 9 Evergreen from the orders of conditions on the deed.
All right. Any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I can do it, I guess. I make a motion that we approve the partial request for a certificate of compliance for 9 Evergreen Lane.
I second that.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, vote. Roy?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Stephen Chittister in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
All right, Beck, we are now at,
All right, we can do number 9 on here. So that's approval of the minutes, which our last meeting, which is May 12th, 2022, and then the meeting, the executive session meeting held on April 28th.
I have it.
The executive
Oh, yeah.
session, quick thing about the executive session. There's another set of minutes for the executive session, but we're not allowed to, I don't know, I didn't want to put those.
Make
open
public.
Put that in public now, so.
Okay.
When what we're discussing is over, we can prove, I guess, I think, what we can talk about.
Yeah, get the mic.
So there's 2 sets of minutes. That's just for the legal, that's just showing that we had the meeting and everyone how they voted in the meeting.
Okay, great. So that was number 8 though, right, Beck?
8.
Did you say 9?
She did, but she meant 8.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's just wrong on my detailed agenda,
All
sorry.
right, so the 4:28:22 minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the minutes of 4/28/22 and 5/12/22.
All right. A second?
Second the motion.
Any discussion or corrections? All in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Stephen Chittister in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor?
Eric Gaspar.
In favor, good. All right, Becky? Here.
But sorry about that, I was going by my detailed agenda and I had the numbers wrong on there. All right, we can, under new business, the Wetland Fund appropriation. This is our annual appropriation that we do from our Wetland Fund account.
Yep.
Where we take out a portion of the funds to help pay for the administrative assistant position. I did get the number from our finance director for fiscal year 23. And what we are doing at this time is we've been taking out 5 hours, which is historically what we were doing. Then we went to 10, and then we're doing 5 again. So this is for 5 hours, it'd be $5,882 for fiscal year '23. It requires a vote by the board here, and then it goes to the Board of Selectmen. So after you vote, we would get that to the Board of Selectmen to be on their next meeting.
All right. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the wetland fund appropriation.
Second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none? How do you vote?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Stephen Chittister in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor. And Ryder approves as well.
All right. Becky, what's next? We can bring,
You, Lorenzo?
No,
No. Okay, then I guess we can't go to him.
no. You could do some of your committee updates right now if you'd like.
yeah, I can do CPA. CPA has not met, and we normally have a meeting scheduled for 6:30 at the town meeting, and nothing has come up that we can even discuss that, so we're not having a meeting. So that's... I can do open space, too. Carol has asked me to ask the Conservation Commission to support the transfer of 70 Cedar Street to the Conservation Commission for, to be held in preservation land. So that's on the ballot on the 6th. There's no cost involved. We already had, Bob Moss gave the land to the town when he developed the other side of the street. And because he didn't consider it developable, and it's mostly wet, or part of it is wet, I don't want to say mostly. And it also is the river that goes into Cedar Lake. So it needs to be protected, so. I'd like to cursory vote. Anybody opposed, in favor?
Stephen Chittister, I'm in favor of
Yep.
supporting that.
Roy?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Eric?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
And Ed Goodwin in favor. So it's unanimous. All right, so that's those two. What about trails? We can hold that off for Brandon?
Yeah, so Brandon's gonna be coming in later to kind of give an update on where they stand with some of the development on 3 different properties. So he'll be in later for that.
Anything going with Lakes Advisory, Eric?
Lakes did hold a meeting. I didn't get the notification until after I already had a conflict, so I was unable to make it. Their meetings being on Thursdays and ours being on Thursdays are going to create some more conflicts down the road, but I'm going to try to make the next one.
That always has. It's been that way for 10 years anyway. Which is unbelievable. Okay. All right, Becky, anything else? So we got,
I mean, yeah, we only have a couple minutes here, so I don't think it's worth getting into some of these other items we could talk about, because it's not gonna, they're gonna take longer than 2 minutes.
I can read the opening
There
statement.
we go.
all right, yeah, that's,
I'll read really slow.
yeah.
In the interest of saving time, the Sturbridge Conservation Commission will hold all public hearings tonight for work within a wetland, water body, or resource area, and/or within the 200-foot buffer zone to a wetland, water body, or resource area in accordance with Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, and associated regulations, and the Town of Sturbridge Wetland Bylaws and associated regulations. We will not be reading the newspaper ad. Prior to opening the first hearing for each project, the applicant is to submit proof of notification to abutters within 200 feet of the subject property line and proof of legal newspaper advertisement. These items are not submitted, the public hearing will not open. Additionally, prior to the start of each public hearing, we will announce the location of the project, the applicant, and the applicant's representative. If any of the visitors have not legibly signed in yet, please do. Also, if any visitors are recording this meeting, please let us know. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you very much. We are now at 6:10, so 6:10 PM, 42 Breakneck Road, notice of intent, septic system replacement, DEP file number 300-1130, owner applicant Chris and Barbara Mattioli, representative is L. Dupree, Clearwater Environmental. So,
All right, so we do have, I'll just start out real quick. We do have Liz on here. She's the representative for the project. Just for the record, we do at this time have proof of butter notification and legal ad receipt. Liz, I can pull up the plan. I have a colored plan that we do. I can pull that up and share that if you want to quickly go over the project.
Okay.
All right, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
So we're basically, we've got an existing house and, we're replacing the septic system. We are connecting an advanced treatment leaching field to an existing septic tank. Our greater than 50 feet to the border wetland. We're in the 100 to 200 foot zone of the river. I think the closest point of disturbance is probably 25 feet from the wetland edge. The advanced treatment system we're using is the geotextile sand filters. They're called Elgins, and they provide additional treatment to the wastewater for discharge. That's basically what we have.
Okay, thank you. So, so we do have a DEP file number that was issued. There were no comments received with that. A site visit was performed out here. As she said, it's an existing developed single-family house lot. All work is located within an existing developed yard, so there'll be no expansion of the yard proposed. Our project does include erosion controls. The system is sited over 50 feet from the edge of the wetland. What we are looking at is a buffer zone only project here. They are in the outer extent of riparian area. However, because of it's a replacement of an existing septic system in a developed yard, it would be exempt from the riverfront standards. So I have no concerns with the project. I recommend that you can move forward and approve the project with issuance of orders of conditions. With that, I would recommend our standard conditions that we include for pre-construction, work during construction, and then, closing the project out with a request for certificate of compliance once it's stabilized. That's all.
any comments, Roy?
Just a quick comment I didn't go on the site visit, so I didn't see it, but it looks like the lawn goes right up to the edge of the wetland. That's,
Yes,
right there.
it does. I mean, it's like, it's one of those treed, root showing type wetland areas.
Oh, so there are trees in the wetland itself?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
totally treed.
All right. Well, that's better. I didn't know if it was completely exposed and open, so.
I didn't see the river. Where's the riverbank?
In the back, way in the back,
Oh, okay.
off of,
Yeah.
yeah, way back there.
No, it was all marked out on the lawn. Oh, it
Okay.
couldn't be tighter,
All right.
So I didn't have a problem with it.
Okay,
All right.
Eric?
No comments.
Hey, anyone in the public have a comment on the notice of intent? Nope.
Anyone on the public line that would like to speak on the 47 Breakneck Road notice of intent? Nope.
All right, hearing none. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second it.
Second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of closing the public meeting?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Sorry, not meeting.
Stephen Chittister in favor.
Ed Goodwin, Roy?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Yep. So that's all.
I make a motion to approve the NOI septic system replacement, DEP file number 300-1130 at 47 Breakneck Road.
I second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Eric,
Okay.
we'll start with you.
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor?
Stephen Chittister in favor.
And Ed Gooden in favor. All right, great. Becky, do we have another quick one we can do for 5 minutes?
All right, you're all set, Liz. Thank you for coming on. We'll work to get that permit out, and we'll send that to you and the property owner. Okay?
Great, thank you.
Have a good one.
Jeez.
You too.
Quick.
Why don't you start the Kerboy one?
Oh,
I'm the installer of that system. Is there any way that I can give you an email and you could send me a copy of the permit?
yes.
Sure, I'll
Yep.
take it for you.
Just write it down someplace.
Yeah,
Write
and-
it down. It's J.
And just so you know, I plan on issuing that. I know they have a closing and everything associated with that.
July 11th.
Okay, so we plan on issuing that on Monday.
Okay.
So once that's issued, there's I didn't
10-day
explain this to the
waiting
owner,
period.
but there's a 10 business day appeal period. So, if you take the issuance date of Monday and figure out that 10-day, if you want to get prepared to be able to start work then, there's things that, when you get the permit, you'll see there's some conditions in there. We'll have to meet out there, check your erosion controls. You can get your erosion controls and stuff like that
In the
in.
meantime, can I fill those in?
You can put those in and that's it. Yeah. You don't have any vegetation to remove out there or anything like that
No, I
anyways, so.
understood. Goes right across
Is,
the line,
is
so-
Liz gonna come down and record it for them?
The things?
No.
The permit?
The permit has to be recorded at the registry of
Yeah.
deeds in Worcester.
Yeah, I think she's doing all that.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah, we
well,
can
we'll
talk to
hold
the
you up.
owners about that too, but if you wanna use that, do 10 business days off of that Monday, that can give you an idea about when you can start, and we can
Okay.
schedule a pre-construction meeting right before that, so that way you guys can get started, cause I know they're trying to sell the property.
Okay. And they said you guys might want a hydro seeding or something there.
We can talk about that, I mean, you're gonna wanna do whatever's quickest to get it stabilized for them probably, once you get it in.
Yeah.
Because we can't close our permit out until it's fully stabilized, but considering it's in the lawn, I think that's fine. Whatever, they don't have to, but, the quicker they can get it stabilized, yeah.
Great.
Okay, have a good one, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. All right, 2 minutes back. What do we got?
It's an awfully nice day out today.
I don't think I have anything that's 2 minutes, but, right, just so everybody knows, Steven
Agent
knows.
report.
Yes, Nadine is going to be doing an internship with us this summer, helping us out in the office. We're going to take her out, do some stuff. We actually brought her out today. We did some soil and delineation training that she got to come on with, which was good. So we'll have her probably start next week, let her kind of learn, what we do in the office. Teacher, she's, GIS is pretty important, so we have some GIS things she can work on for us. So yeah, excited about that.
Great.
Thanks, Becky.
I think everyone knows we have a new TA that started, a town administrator. We have town meeting
Tuesday.
on Monday, so everyone knows. And just so you're aware too, I didn't get it out in time for this meeting, but I did send a letter to 508 International and the property owners where we have that enforcement order, and did ask them to come to the next meeting. You guys had asked me to have them come to this meeting, but I didn't get that letter out in time. So we have them, sent that out to have them come in the next meeting, so we'll have that on our agenda.
On the 23rd.
23rd, yep, June 23rd, so.
All right,
All right, you wanna,
We can go.
so
Next
ready to
one?
go for
Yeah.
620, 19 Mashpog Road. Continued notice, NOI, replacement of failed culverts, DEP file number 300-1129. Applicant is Thousand Trails, representative is Scott Morrison, Ecotech. Request is in OOC.
so.
Scott, you there?
Yes.
Yep, so I just, this is a continuation from the last meeting. We didn't have a DEP file number, or a comment back from Natural Heritage. We have both now. No concerns from Natural Heritage or DEP, so you can move forward with it. One of the things we talked about at the last meeting was vegetation management along the stream coming out of the pond there. Mr. Morrison did submit a planting plan to include some shrubs below where that wooden footbridge is, down to where the culverts are. They had some concern because there is a dam there, and there are requirements for vegetation management about doing anything else to the north of that, between the where the structure is and the dam is. I think it's a good compromise for the project. I mean, if the commission felt it was necessary, like, you know, maybe they could mow once a year along the stream, and that would prevent woody vegetation if you felt needed. That might be fine with DCR, I don't know. But I think what they've submitted is pretty sufficient, so I would recommend that at this point in time, you can move forward if you felt comfortable, close the hearing and issue the orders of conditions. It would be for the after the fact removal and replacement of the culverts, and for approval of the removal of the footbridge. Conditions, I'd recommend native seed mix for altered areas under the footbridge, implement the submitted planting plan, no equipment to enter resource areas, you know, our typical things, schedule a pre-work meeting, et cetera, to go over how they're gonna remove the footbridge, and then just add in one growing season, because you're gonna have the shrubs in there before issuance of a COC. So, I'm not sure, Scott, if there's anything you want to add there.
No, I think that's a pretty good summary. It's pretty straightforward. The work's been done with the exception of the planting.
Roy, anything?
Good.
My only comment would be, you know, mowing inside the 25-foot, I'd rather not see that. You know,
That's a good,
go ahead, what?
I was just gonna say that we had talked about that with Rebecca, and obviously that's what we'd like to do. The only caveat to that is there's requirements for DCR, Office of Dam Safety. They require areas, the dam, and at least areas within 25 feet, and any outlets to be maintained and mowed to prevent any, you know, any trees or woody vegetation from growing in those areas. So that's why we had proposed the plantings directly up gradient of the culvert, so that we could provide some mitigation there. But further up, once you get closer to the dam, that's required to be maintained.
I don't mind the maintenance part of it, but the mowing part of it seems to me to be a bit aggressive. So,
It's got to be, it's, you know, that's part of the requirement to maintain that. Unfortunately, I'm on a land trust that owns a dam, and the dam requirements are onerous and expensive.
okay. All right. Eric, anything?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Public?
Lenny? You're
Big
on.
crowd tonight. You brought in a big crowd with you tonight.
Is there anyone on the public line that would like to speak on the 19 Mashapog Road continued notice of intent? No, there is not.
Hearing none. Close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of closing the public hearing? Eric?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Stephen Chittister in favor.
And Ed Goodwin in favor.
I make a motion that we approve the NOI replacement of failed culverts, DEP file 300-1129, 19 Mashpog Road, with all of Becky's comments as recorded.
Second that?
Second that. Any discussion? Hearing none? All in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Stephen Chittister in favor.
And Ed Goodwin in favor. Okay, great.
Thank you very much.
No problem, Scott. Take care. All right, we are now at
7:20 again, so we can go right into it.
6:20, we're ahead of schedule. 72 Paradise Lane, NOI raise and rebuild on lakefront lot, DP file number 300, no number?
Oh, actually, that came in today, so it's 11:31. It came in with no DEP comments. And for the record, we have proof of a butter notification and legal ad receipt.
Come on up, Lenny,
Hi.
you're on.
I am gonna put the colored plans up. Let's see.
They put you in Charlton, did you see that?
You have these in
Yeah.
Do you want another set?
Not
Well,
really.
well, I'll take it and put it in the file. We did,
I cut it out of the
flip it out and
newspaper for you
everything,
too.
so. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I think we have everything, but we'll put it in there.
You're on the Jumbotron, Eric.
All right, can you see the plan? Can you see my plan? Okay.
How
Let
come-
me, I'm gonna put it up the other way. It's, there we go, so he can see it.
Oh,
Right.
Falling apart.
come on in,
All right.
come have a seat.
I was in the right spot.
Go ahead, Lenny, you're up.
Okay, Leonard Jalbert from Jalbert Engineering, representing the property located at 72 Paradise Lane. The property itself is a single-family residential home, and what they're proposing to do is to raise that building and replace it with another building. And in the process of doing that, they're moving the building up closer to Paradise Lane and taking up some of the, taking off some of the space from the 50-foot setback, a 50-foot riparian zone, buffer zone. And what it is right now is with the proposed house and the new old house, the actual buffer zone will be decreased by roughly 60 square feet. The existing house and buffer was 829 square feet, and the proposed now within the buffer zone is 770. The actual impact on the property itself, the original property with the shed was 14.13% coverage. With the new two-stall garage going on and everything, it's going to be 16.82. What's going to take place because of that, we're going to have to go to a special permit with the Zoning Board of Appeals relative to the increase in coverage for the property in question. I talked to Jean about it, and she didn't anticipate any problems with getting it approved. However, they will not submit a request for anything with the ZBA until this site is approved by conservation. So what is actually happening here is that the town water, which is on there, they have town sewer, it has a private well, and the private well is presently on the property itself, which will not have any need for replacement. The shoreline itself is already existing with the trees and everything that's in that area, and nothing within the 25-foot setback would take place near the water or anything. And we've got the hay bales and erosion control, which is going on right across from the front where it is developed presently, and then going on both sides for showing the actual depiction of the disturbance that would take place. There's a fence which is located on the property line, which is basically in front of the shed, which is on the easterly side, that fence would be replaced and moved towards the Reardon property, which the Reardon property, when they purchased it, purchased a 25-foot strip adjacent to their house, and the people here purchased the other 25-foot strip, but the fence itself was never moved. So we're going to be moving the fence over roughly 25 feet in a westerly
Onto the
direction.
Reardon's lawn?
Please?
Onto the Reardon's lawn?
Onto his encroachment? Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
You should get that done right when the whole thing is, they're working on now.
Okay, just wanted to ask, I wanted to make sure that you were saying what you were saying.
Yes, I am.
Lenny, is there gonna be stairs? I color these plans, and I noticed it looked like stairs in the contour lines within the 25 foot, but I wasn't quite sure. Yeah.
Right
Is there
here.
new stairs there, or were they existing?
It's new.
Those are new.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there will be a little in the 25 foot.
There'll be steps taken for access to the lake.
Right, okay.
It'll be filled there
Nothing immediately
too.
along the shoreline or anything will be touched.
Okay.
What does these topo lines mean? Is that some kind of,
That's contours of the, that are bringing in for the property.
is that fill?
Yes.
So we're filling inside, what is that? That's the 25?
That's the 25, that red line.
Right.
Now, the square footage of,
Do you want me to,
what?
me to read my notes?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was just saying, I was getting out of,
The, what
looking
the,
around, I was getting out of line.
the actual square footage of the existing structure is 1,612 square feet. Okay?
Yeah.
Excuse me, that's the proposed 1,612, and the existing is 904.
And you're not including any patios in that, right? That's just the structure?
The patio and structure for the existing with the shed was 1,354 square
You
feet.
included this, is this a brick patio right here on the side?
Brick-
I didn't go on the site visit, so it's,
Where,
What is that
for which one,
little
the
line?
existing one?
yeah, on the existing one.
Yeah, there's a brick patio, that's a brick walkway all the way across, yes.
So did you include that in your square footage for the house?
No,
Okay.
How
Okay,
about
good.
what's on the back? Is that a deck? I didn't draw that either. I
where's
wasn't
the
sure.
back of the deck? Where are you talking about?
You
Right
had
here, you have
two,
a line here.
what is
That
this?
comes
act-
out.
That's the deck that was in the front of the house.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. All right, so, site contains, we have bordering land subject to flooding and bank. The work is just within the buffer zone of bank. He's got the mean annual high water line elevation at 721.78, so there's no work within the bordering land subject to flooding. No trees are noted on the plan for removal. So the one thing is, the project would require a waiver for the new structure within 50 feet and work within 25 feet. There's no documentation on how the project meets performance standards for that, nor an alternative analysis for it. Project includes a reduction on the stone parking area adjacent to the roadway and infiltration measures for stormwater from the roofs in the driveway. Discharge locations of overflows aren't shown on here. So I'm not sure how that's gonna be handled, is that, on the downspouts or not, but, we've had plans that have shown that on there. We just wanna make sure we're not directing any overflow onto the adjacent properties here, cause they are right up against the property lines. And so I noted that the lot coverage increase and expansion is proposed within the 50-foot no new structure setback. Work is also proposed within the 25-foot no disturb area. Lot is developed, however, fill noted within 25 feet in the no disturb area to raise the site. That would require the waiver. A breakdown of the impervious surface increases with the 50-foot buffer zone would be useful. Appears portion of structure pulled back from the 25-foot buffer zone line. However, square footage doesn't appear to be decreased within the 50-foot buffer zone. Currently, as shown, it wouldn't appear to meet performance standards with the waivers that would be required.
Okay, what is actually taking place, there's Caltech chambers that are going to be used for the discharge of the house itself. There's 3 of them on the southwesterly corner of the house and southeasterly corner, which is taking care of the house drains. And there's an extra drain that's placed on the southeasterly side, Caltech chamber for drainage on the house. And then also there's a interceptor trench that's going to be installed in the front of the garage. It's a double storm tech chambers that are handling the runoff from the front of the house for the driveway itself. And they're on that plan. They're marked, in fact, you
Yep.
marked them in.
Yeah,
blue.
we forgot. There's one
Okay.
here
Yeah.
coming off the house, and then that's the driveway
There's
one.
a double set up there on the northwest corner. There's a double set on the southwest corner for the part of the house, and there's a single which is on the southeast corner.
So Lenny, would the downspouts have like the hole within them, I guess, to like let out overflow water? Is that where the overflow would be, or is there something else proposed?
No, there'd be an overflow on it,
Okay.
just for.
It would be nice to have that on the
Okay.
plan. We had some recently, and I think that's just make sure it ensures that that's on there. We just want to make sure we're not discharging onto adjacent properties. That's all.
Roy?
Are there any mitigation plans or anything, improvements that you can put in there if we're working inside or very close to the 50-foot, 25-foot buffer?
The improvements under I don't want to be trite, but under the Massachusetts regulations, 1058, it's an existing lawn area, an existing lot with an existing house, with the building being put on it right now. We're putting it back basically in the existing condition. So it's basically exempt from that part.
Well, under the local bylaw, in order to get the waiver for the new structure within the 50 feet, it's a 2-to-1 mitigation requirement, so that's where that comes in. Yeah, there's,
That would be the only thing that comes in.
You done?
Yep.
Yeah, so I had the same comment. In order to really consider, there's a significant amount of work happening inside the 25, the regrading. I understand that may be existing lawn right now, but that, probably shouldn't be. There should be, so the area
It has a
along-
clicker if you need it, Steve.
This area in here, is that heavily treed right currently?
No, not really, no.
Okay. So, I mean, we have all of this grading that's happening inside the 25 no-touch
Only
zone.
from where that dot where you were at, going in a northerly direction. The rest of it, from there to the lake, nothing's being touched.
These contours are all representative of fill that's going
Right.
in the 25 foot.
And
Yeah.
the contours from where those steps are and everything, they're actually 28.7 feet from the house is 28.7 feet from the water. And the contours from the steps to the thing is, see, 20. From the water to the contours, it's 16 feet from the contours where those steps are going up to the water,
Right.
okay?
Yeah, I mean,
So there's a lot of work going on.
yeah.
There's some in that area, yes.
And currently, this is all lawn? Is that correct?
That's right.
I mean, so we would need to see some kind of mitigation to, make this acceptable, that there's that amount of work that's happening that close to the lake. If this if this whole area could be converted to, natural conditions, what was previous yard, you could include that in a, some mitigation square footage or something. and just have the stairs that are going down.
Okay.
But we also have, considerable increase in the size of the structure inside the 50 no build.
And
So,
inside the 100. I mean, we are responsible for the 100.
yeah, no, I know. But in particular, we're concerned about no new structures inside the 50, and that's the problem, so.
We're going from
Yeah,
904 feet to 1,612
right.
square feet.
So those are my comments.
Yeah.
It's doubling it.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, that's the point I'm making.
Lenny,
Yeah.
it looks to me like you're doing a drive-in, you're going to fill around on either side and raise it up.
That's correct, which we are.
And how are you going to contain it, like on Scott's yard, away from his yard and also on Reardon's?
On Riddens, you
Yeah.
mean? We're going right on where we're going right to the existing grade. We're not putting anything in there on Reardon's property at all. It's
I
draining
know
from
you're not
there
putting
to
it
the
on his
front.
property, but if you're raising it up on this property,
It's staying within the property
how is it
itself.
staying within the property? A wall?
The way the contours go right there. The actual flow from runoff is actually at a right angle to the contours, and it's coming basically in a west and southeasterly direction along the front to the lake. It's not going towards either property, left or right.
Okay. Now, the concern that I have, that brings me to the concern of the channel, the gutter channel between the properties, which is always a concern. Water flow, is the water flow going to just continue on down Paradise, or is it going to go between Reardon's and,
If you go towards Reardon's house, if you're in a westerly side of his house, there's a brook. It's all running
I know.
into that,
Yeah,
you went through
yeah.
that scenario, I think,
Yeah.
last time meeting. That's where the water's running from there into the lake
yeah.
on Reardon's property.
Tim doesn't call it a brook, but you,
You can call it what you want.
yeah.
So are you pitching the driveway? The driveway looks pretty flat right now,
The driveway's staying as is, we're not
but
changing
you're
it.
raising the driveway, the new contours here, what is it, 630?
Yeah.
Sorry, you look at the existing, it looks pretty flat right there, 733, 732.
It's basically flat all the way through, from the road itself down to the garage itself. The road is at 632, and at the garage area itself is basically at
So the driveway will
630. So it's
pitch
gonna be-
towards that
it's-
infiltration, not towards the road?
Not towards the road, it's pitching towards the garage and then into the Caltech chambers.
Well, we want to see if, any comments from
Eric?
Eric? That's what I was
Yeah.
going to say. Is there any comments from Eric?
Yeah, I do, Ed. So Lenny, could you help me understand, you had said that there was a reduction in, within the 50-foot.
That is
I'm not saying that we're playing with statistics here, but I'm looking at the footprint of the house is shaded in purple and the footprint of the house shaded in purple. And it must be my lying eyes telling me that is a significant expansion. So can you please take me through the details of how we came up with that number?
The details, if you, measuring up the house, the existing house, we came up with the figures, and that was 907, then the deck and the stairs on the house was 324 square feet, and the existing shed, which was on the property, was 126 square feet, and they come up to 1,355 square feet approximately. That's the existing structures on the property.
No, I'm talking about specifically between the 25 and the 50 foot. My eyes, you had said that there was a reduction in that space as well. My eyes are not telling me that, so
Well, it's
I'm just trying to figure out
it's
how that
actually
calculation.
misleading
Unless I
because-
misheard, I am in the virtual space.
Because what happened here is you got this line right here, that's dash line, that's the house. The actual deck goes from here down to this area here, along this line, and then back up here. All this area here is existing deck and structures in this whole area.
So you're including the deck in the house structure calculation to get there?
That is correct.
Okay.
Is the new house gonna have a deck?
Please?
I don't know that
Yeah.
that's the gymnastics that I would do, but okay, thank you for explaining that. Is there anything we can do to completely not, I mean, we have a 25-foot no touch for a reason. It's not supposed to be touched, and there seems to be some significant work being done there. You know me, I'm pretty reasonable, but it doesn't seem to me that the mitigation that is down there on the bank would be such that it would justify us making a decision there. So what significant improvements could be made? And when I'm saying significant, I mean significant improvements could be made to justify us signing off on a what seems to be a fairly significant disturbance of that land within 25 feet.
Well, if he wanted to change any of the impact for the grading in this area here, we could go back in here and put in a retaining wall along this section right here and then leave that in its natural grade.
Okay. And those are my only comments.
Want to see if the audience has any?
Anything to say about the notice of intent?
Looks good to me.
Is there anyone on the public line that would like to speak on the 72 Paradise Lane notice of intent? Doesn't appear anyone's on the line.
I would just say
Right.
maybe a table with the breakdown of the impervious, like the structure of the house with deck within the 25 to 50 and overall new versus proposed would be useful.
Yeah, I really feel that, and the other thing is that it's nice to talk about sheds, but there's no zoning on sheds. So 15 minutes after you finish the house, you can put a shed on the property, right?
You can't put it in the setback, but if
Yeah,
it's
you can't put it in the
below,
setback, but you can-
yeah, if it's under 200 square feet, you don't need a building permit for it.
Right, you don't need a building permit, and the one that's there wasn't a building permit, I'm sure, because they weren't doing that then. I think this is, the fill, the push on the 25-foot, and the increase in the size of the house need to be looked at. I don't know what.
I agree.
That would be, would you like a continuation, Lenny?
I request a continuation.
So the next meeting is June 23rd. After that is July 14th.
Okay, we'll go to June 20, we'll go to July 14th.
You want to vote on a continuation?
I make a motion that we approve a continuation till July 14th.
Second?
Eric?
Yeah, Eric Gaspar in favor. I don't know if it's appropriate to say this now, but if we could get an alternative analysis as part of what you come back with, Lenny, I'd appreciate it.
Yep.
All in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Stephen Chittister in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor? Eric?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Thanks, Lenny.
Thank you.
Not going too far. It's coming back.
And he's just getting another paper.
All right. We are now at 86 and 88 South Shore Drive, continuation and notice of intent, raise and rebuild of a single-family home associated site work, DP file number 300-1127.
Got two.
Are you sure you heard the right file for that one that you're doing for this one, or
No,
did
this is not.
you flip them?
And
No
I
wonder.
shuffle all the papers into one, makes it look better.
Yeah, they're both
No.
there, but they're not. There we go. It's a little smaller, but that's,
Yeah, we can,
so what I did there is I took, the one on the left is the plan that you all saw at the
I'm just
last
gonna share my
meeting.
screen for Eric here.
All right, so the plan on the left was the proposed house, not the existing conditions. That was the proposed plan. And right here on the right is the revised plan. So you can kind of see what is different. That's what those are.
All right.
They're different sizes, but I hope that's,
Lenny, do you wanna go over it? Yeah, and we can zoom over to the other one.
I'll go over it, be happy to. Okay, what there was at the last meeting is that there was quite a few things for a response, so we sent a letter to the board on May 20th relative to the questions of the site itself. We sent the photo showing the site. We also sent a letter from the state on the environmental impact under their letter number 22-40992 on the impact relative to the habitat area and the species in the area. We also sent a copy of the plan for the septic system design and also the calculations for the relocation of the proposed house. The calculations actually are, the existing house was within the 50-foot setback was 306 square feet, where the proposed house within the 50-foot setback is actually 584 square feet. There's a difference of 278 square feet. Within the 50-foot between this one and that one right here. The riparian zone, which was the most important part, which was this section over here, right there was the riparian zone line. What we did is, there's the riparian zone line now, so we actually went on the riparian zone on the new coverage from the stream bank.
I'll zoom into that one.
Right, what?
I'm gonna zoom into that one.
the other way.
Okay, you're going to get into that one, what?
Yeah, I'm gonna go, I'm moving over so it's
Oh, okay.
easier for you to see.
Yellow line.
Okay, what is happening right now, that this section here to the brook itself actually is 194 feet. And the amount of impact within the riparian zone is going to be 132 square feet versus the other one. And then right now, the plan on the revision right now is versus the old one. The old one right in here was, we had 805 square feet, which was in the riparian zone. They're 600 actually, so we've decreased this area of coverage within the riparian zone 673 square feet. So and then we took the tent out, which we moved that thing too, which was another 120. So we've actually cut out roughly 790 or 800 square feet for the riparian zone itself. The alternative considerations for the house is that we move the house away from the impact area over here, and then move it over in the southeasterly direction over to where the existing structure is presently. So we're not encroaching any more on the existing structure relative to setback, which is acceptable by the Zoning Board of Appeals, but we've cut out the complete area over here. Now, so that area there, we've taken here, and we've put in the septic system in here, which I gave you a copy of the septic system, which is for the Board of Health. The percolation test was done by the Board of Health. and the septic system was approved. Set.
They already approved it? You already filed with Board of Health for the system?
No, I
or
haven't,
just the
no,
perk?
I haven't done that
Okay,
yet.
okay.
No, but they,
Yeah, he didn't-
they were there when we did the test and everything, so.
Well, he's done perk testing in areas that, might not necessarily be amenable for, our regulations too, so just have to keep that in mind.
The regulation, we have no choice. What we had there was actually a well right over here on this side, and there's a well over here on this side, and if you got the plan, do you have the plan for the septic system? Should be 2 of 2.
Was it the last plan that you submitted before this?
It should be, yes.
That's additional information. No, that's not what I'm looking for.
No, that's mine. It's just a site plan.
I
Okay.
don't know that I have that
Okay.
electronically.
Well, the actual plan that the well on, there's 3 wells. There's one well right over here on this property, there's one over here, and there's one over there. If I take the one on the most westerly side, the well distance to the leach field itself is 88.41 feet. The one on the east side, which is right in here, comes out to be over 100 feet. And then the well on the property itself, which is right here to the leach field itself, is 85.9 feet. So the thing is, we had to go with the Board of Health for the upgrade for the septic system, which we're going to require the approval of the 2 wells, which are within the 100 feet, which they should be acceptable in that the wells in question are by the same owner, so
How many bedrooms is the house?
3.
3.
Okay.
Anything else, or?
We put in a track pad over here on this side just for development. That's what this one here is for, so that we won't be carrying all the dirt onto the street and everything. So we got a track pad right in here for that. And then we have Cultec chambers on the northwesterly corner for the house, and then on the southeasterly corner, a northeasterly corner for the house itself. The driveway will be basically stone in here, so there will be no runoff from that. It will just be a stone driveway going from here to the garage.
Yeah, that should probably be noted on the plan when we get to a final plan, that it's not going to be paved, like what exactly is going to be the surface of the driveway there. I guess I would just add, right, we've, he's made some improvements here. He's reduced riverfront area impacts, and he shifted the house over to utilize some of what was previously disturbed within the 50-foot. Still looks like it's the same footprint of the previous house, so there's still the, new structure within the 50 feet. Obviously, he's got a lot of things he's got to work with here to make this project work for our standards, for your regulations, Board of Health, zoning, because it's a very small lot, what they're trying to do here. So it still looks like, questions about if we're looking for a waiver within the 50-foot for the structure, what's the mitigation going to be there? Have all alternatives been kind of demonstrated? Other house footprint options? I know it was important to them to have, a master floor bedroom, but, you could reduce the square footage if this was a second-story house, if that's an option. So I think those are things for the commission to consider. I think what's also really important that was brought up at the last meeting was the septic system. I think it's necessary that we get something, some written documentation that it's in compliance, because we do have a certified vernal pool across the street. I kind of read last time, DEP had some comments on that, and then I included for your review what was in the Title V setback information there. You know, using topography alone isn't sufficient to demonstrate that there isn't a connection hydraulically over there. So I think it's important that that's, you know, documented, and we get something documented from Board of Health on that, because I think that's pretty important on this project. I think you need to know that before you move forward on it. He did mention he had some stormwater structures there, same comments from the last one. Overflows, concern about directing water onto adjacent properties. It looks like there's 2 on there, maybe for the, you know, not sure what the roof line's gonna look like here. You know, what about, does that cover the whole roof? Is there, you know, additional ones that can be put in as mitigation or not? Those are my comments. Like I said, there's, you know, some improvements made here because we're moving out of the riverfront area. However, you know, they still have the encroachment within the 50-foot buffer, and the concerns with the septic here.
Okay,
Roy?
Have you exhausted all the mitigation effort close to South Pond? Is there any other options?
I got an
that you can-
extremely small lot here. I've got
What's
the
the actual
house,
size of the lot?
the actual size of the lot, 1 second, I can tell you is, let's see. 13,503 square feet.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, and as far as the certified vernal pool, if you look on the DEP regulations, I know your regulations are different, but if you look on the 15.211 certified vernal pool, and you look at the way the system was designed, it would actually be, they would allow within 50 feet of the vernal pool. Outside of that, the normal distance for the vernal pool would be 100 feet. So we're way beyond the 50 or anything else beside it, and the system itself is, the discharge of the system itself is below the existing grade of the wetland across the street.
Yeah, it just says surface topography alone is stated to not be determinative. I just think that someone needs to demonstrate that, and someone needs to, like, Board of Health needs
It's
to say.
demonstrated through percolation tests and grades and survey.
Okay, so, well, Board of Health, someone needs to confirm that, I think.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Roy, any other question? Steven?
Okay, so the red X's, those are trees being removed?
Yep.
Yeah. So those
Yes.
are the same in this one here.
Yeah.
So I'm confused because I thought the comment that I made the last meeting was that I'd rather see because this is existing yard, I guess, right?
It is existing yard, yes.
I'd rather see the structure, you know, moved in this, so all you did from the previous plan was just lop off the bump out here, from what I can see.
No, that's not true.
Okay, Becky, could you do the
Yeah.
side-by-side again?
Yeah, they shifted quite a bit.
Shifted, if you look at the
We shifted it.
property line.
We shifted it from.
Sorry.
Oh, I see, you moved it back to here.
Yeah.
Right.
But I had made just the opposite comment, because we've got, you know, almost 200 feet in this direction. It looks like the same exact trees are still coming out, even with the shift. So and we're still touching the 25-foot
Yeah.
buffer zone, you know. So we have new structure in the 25 to 50 foot, and, you know, we're getting very close to the lake here. So I still have the same concerns that I had the last time, that I feel like, you know, this isn't much of an improvement over what we saw the last time. And then I agree with Becky's comments about demonstrating that we're not going to have an issue with migration of the septic effluent to this vernal pool area. That's it for me.
I mean, what's the, on the house? The house size proposed is what in relationship to the old house?
Just a second. Okay, the old house was 1,580 square feet. And the proposed house would be 2,236.
Yeah. I have a problem with that increase as it is laid out here.
The thing is, they talked about it, she doesn't want to go to a two-story building, she wants to go with single-story, and that's what's bringing this the way it is.
Yeah. I'm just saying, the lot size isn't great.
Lot size is small.
It's small, and it's in a very wet area, both sides. I don't. Eric, what do you have? Anything?
Well, I just wanted to follow up on what Stephen had said, because that was my understanding as well, that the goal was to kind of move it more, towards and inside the riparian zone and away from the 25 foot. So, based on what changed in 3 weeks, Lenny, to make that impossible?
What do you mean? Repeat the question.
Well, yes, it would. I don't have the clicker, but Stephen, could you show him exactly where you wanted it to be moved to? Because it seemed to me at the time the logic made sense, but and I thought we had an agreement that we were going to look at that and moving the house over there, but we seem to go in the opposite direction.
Well, right, so he talked about
Yeah.
we talked about using this space over here, which was already house, going to the setback, balancing, right, you'd have to, balance, because
Change
you've
the
got
house
some
plan.
riverfront over here. But so what they did was they just moved the house down. So, right, you could have still moved the house down and then changed the house design, took this out and had something over here, I guess. Right?
Yeah. It's a function of, I don't know if Julie, the client, but somebody didn't listen? Is that what we're saying? That's what that's what I was thinking.
Whatever we can do to get away from the red line.
Yeah.
And can I ask something, Lenny, what would be the limit of work there? Is that dotted line that
Yeah,
you
that's
have?
the erosion control line.
So if the
right
house
there.
went all the way to the 25, the limit of work, like the machines and nothing would go beyond, like that seems
That's pretty tight
very
right there.
small.
Yeah, good observation.
All right, I'm gonna ask for a continuation then.
You guys like to have a continuation to, I think, what, July 14th, is it, or something?
Yeah, it's June 23rd and then July 14th.
Correct, 14th.
14th, okay.
Okay.
Make a motion, we approve a continuation to July 14th.
Have a second? Yeah, Roy? Any comments, Eric? Before we do that, we should go to the,
I'm good for the continuation. Eric Gaspar in favor.
we should go to the public and see if there's anybody out there that wants to speak to this.
Anyone on the public line that would like to speak to the 8688 South Shore Drive continued notice of intent for a raise and rebuild?
Or in the room.
Or in the room? Doesn't appear.
Hearing none? All in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Stephen Chittister in favor.
Eric Gaspar in favor.
And Ed Goodwin in favor. Thanks, Lenny.
Excuse me, is Mike Young's project going to be heard tonight or not? Do you know?
I did speak to Paul McManus. He did ask for our continuance in writing to,
That's why I'm at.
yes, yeah, you're all set to leave. So they're gonna continue that to July 14th, because, right, they got the plants and they said, and they need to have you go out and do the survey on that. He sent an email out later,
Okay.
late afternoon. I just saw it when I got
Should
back
take
in.
sandwiches with me on the 14th, huh?
Yes,
Okay. Thank you for your time.
have a good night. So we have a couple more things, but they should be quick, and then we can talk to you guys too.
Glenn, you're up.
So you're on number 5, Ed.
All right? Yep. We're at 640, 150 Charlton Road, NOI. development of a commercial building, truck parking and supporting infrastructure, DEP file number 300-1115. Glenn, how you doing?
Good, yourself?
Good.
Beautiful day, thank you. Hi, everyone. I know that if I could talk, thank you, Chairman, I believe Becky heard from Mr. Chesler in that on Summit Engineering, Steve Brissett was planning on having the plans he's looking at tomorrow, but he said definitely in the beginning of the week for the revision with no work in the riverfront area at this site. And hoping to be on your agenda for the, I believe, 23rd, if that was a correct date.
Yep, it is.
That's how it went. We did hear that there was some question about, obviously, the length of time. We read the long agenda, the length of time it's been open, August of 20. We have brought this up, I'm not sure if it was to this board, but there is language under 1005 4G about a notice of intent being deemed to expire 2 years after it's been submitted, unless there's showing that the applicant has failed to diligently pursue the issuance of a final order. I realize that that might be only one of the issues. There was some questions with Mia McDonald, or I believe it might have been from DEP that you talked to, about whether or not it was appropriate for the applicant and the owner to change. The owner was always the same owner. The applicant, as you know, has moved down the street towards the Brimfield line. And the owners want to take over the project and keep the notice of intent alive. It is, and that's the only reason I'm here, is to see what you have to say about keeping it alive so we can submit the new plans and get out of the riverfront area. I think the only difference that you might see if there was some decision against that would be that we would have to file a new notice of intent and pay the additional fees. I had also heard that there was a question, maybe from staff, this is Mr. Chesler talking, that the state filing fees, and this could be incorrect, might be expiring, or was there any kind of language to notice of intent?
No, that's not what was said. It's just
I
that,
figured he probably misheard that. 'cause
yeah, just
there's no-
after a point in time, you've kind of exhausted those, and that actually came from DEP as well. So, you know, we have a change of project here, and the question was, right, we've been working on a project that was for a particular applicant, a specific project. You know, that applicant has moved on, and this project appears to be substantially changing. And with that, the question is it appropriate at that time to, you know, withdraw and start over? I mean, part of the reasons for that is, you know, a whole new project requires new notifications, et cetera. You know, we've had peer reviews that have been ongoing here, and right, there's, you know, with talking to DEP, after a certain time, there's a fee that's submitted as part of the applications that, you know, you've kind of gone through that review process and exhausted that. And that was kind of her argument. You know, I think at this time, you know, the commission can see what you're proposing as a change and move forward from there. We did speak to Mr. Chesler today, and we talked about that fee part of that. And he said, oh, I have no problem with submitting a new fee. I mean, it's pretty much like we're talking about a new notice of intent here. Everything is going to be new on this. It just seems like it'd be cleaner and easier to start with a new application and submit that in. So, you know, and that's something up for discussion. We haven't seen revised plans yet, and that's something that I think that the commission, you know, can take a look at those and talk to you and your client on that and figure out, you know, a path moving forward for the permitting of that. It's just, if we're doing everything needs to be new here, it kind of seems like it'd just be easier to just start fresh with a new notice of intent. Especially since there's so much, you know, we've had peer reviews going on, so many revisions and iterations of that project. It just seems like it would be cleaner and easier. That's all. I think right now they're asking for a continuation to June 23rd.
Yes, ma'am.
And, you know, let them have that opportunity and come back and see what the draft plan is. I recommend they come in with you
Yep.
and just have a discussion about that. And I'd like to have DEP weigh in on it too, so.
Sure. Could I, through the chairman, please, if I can?
On the 23rd,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Yes,
let's just-
thank you for the 23rd. I just want,
This is just, you guys, we're not gonna have a conversation until we sit down with a new plan and look at the substance and decide whether we want it to be new or not.
I understand.
So I'd like to continue this. I don't see any reason for discussion of your opinion of what's going to happen versus what should happen from anything until we have a plan.
It doesn't have to do with the opinion on the plan. It has to do with the opinion that I've never heard that DEP says your money is exhausted.
Well, this is, neither have I, so,
Exactly.
yeah. But, so I don't want to go down that avenue either.
I just, I had stated it. I mean, even in the 2 years that is explained here, that it can, then you question it, doesn't say, and you've also exhausted your money.
So, it's not a
I'll
subject.
ask for that.
Eric, you
because
got
it's
anything?
Up to us to ask for the extension. Continue.
No, I'm okay with the continuance.
Okay.
Do we want to see if there's anyone in the public?
You want to see anybody on the line?
Is there anyone on the public line that would like to speak on the 150 Charlton Road continued notice of intent? Does not appear there's anyone on.
All right.
We'd ask for the continuance.
I make a motion that we grant the continuance to June 23rd.
Second?
Any discussion? Seeing none, Eric? How do you vote?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor?
Stephen Chittister in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
Thank you.
Thanks.
for
Thanks a
your
lot.
time. You have a good evening. Appreciate it.
Sorry if I truncated it more than quickly.
No.
more quickly than I
It's-
thought.
No. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, we are now at 231, 233, 235 Cedar Street, continued ANRAD, and you're saying this is going to be continued, Becky?
Yeah, yep. So they have the planting done, they need to have the survey work done, submit a report as part of the notice of intent that they have in front for that replication work. But we need that plan before we can move forward to close the ANRAD and issue an ORAD, including the new replication area. So they have asked for it to be continued to July 14th to give them time to do that. I recommend a continuance.
All right. Any discussion?
We want to check.
All in favor? Eric?
Is she checking the public line?
Yeah.
Or not?
We're not even bringing it, it's not even going there. They-
Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak to
Really
the
didn't come up
ANRAD
in
on
the
Cedar
meeting.
Street?
It's,
No, no one's here anyway.
Well, Eric Gaspar in favor of the continuance.
yeah,
Roy Bishop in favor?
Stephen Chittister in favor.
and Ed Goodwin in favor. Good. Now, where are we at next, Beck?
5 Lad Road, and we have the property owners here.
Okay, great.
Sorry, it was either like 6 o'clock or you had to wait, sorry. So I'm just gonna pull up, I'll just, you can come sit up. I'll just give them a summary, and then can let you add in there. I do have the plan for the property. I think it'd be useful for those that aren't familiar with the property. I can just pull it up and kind of explain.
Be great.
And I have some photos too, so. Let me just pull that up first. So I'm just gonna share that so Eric can see it. All right, so we have, Eric, we have the property owners for 5 Lad Road. I'm just gonna zoom in. They're new property owners, been working with them. They did some work out on the property, weren't aware of the wetland requirements, responsive from my first letter, went out and I met with him. Zooming in here. What you can see is we've got Lad Road down to the bottom of the screen here, just below off the stone wall. This is the plan from 1999 when the house was built, so it was just the proposed plan. So there's parts of the driveway that, look different. This had a garage on it. The house doesn't have a garage there. So it's not exactly, but it gives us an idea of where the wetland was flagged at that time.
Wait, there used to be a garage on there?
I think they,
Proposed plan.
yeah, this was
Okay.
proposed at one time. We had 2 plans in the file. This was the newer one of how it was proposed. It doesn't look like that was built.
Yeah.
We don't have, like an as-built of when it was done in our file. So this is what was, presented and approved. But we can see we've got a wetland line over here. This was an existing stone wall, still here. This wall still here. What he did was they had a single wide driveway here, and he kind of went towards the wetland, expanded the driveway. I'll put some photos up. I did provide them to you in advance before, if you had an opportunity to look at them. You know, kind of parts of it, there were some boulders there, brought some new boulders in, filled in, and.
No, yeah, I didn't bring any new boulders in. Yeah, what I did is, can I use this thing here?
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is the existing wall. Yeah, so I didn't bring any new boulders in at all. This had a existing stone wall that kind of lined my driveway. And what I did is, with my excavator, I basically just pushed the stones. Well, actually, by the shed, I did this all by hand. The shed, I moved the stones from 0 to 6 inches by hand just to make the wall that I pushed look straight. So over here, I pushed this over here more into, I don't know, I'd call it maybe 4.5, 5 feet. And then I could just kind of blended it in to where the shed is. So, yeah, the only material I did bring in was 3/4 inch gravel.
Do you want me to pull up the photos?
Yeah.
I can pull some photos up. So, right, but I went out, we talked about that, you know, it would have required a notice of intent application for work within 100 feet. I did go out and just kind of roughly flag, you know, the edge of the wetland based off the plan and what the site conditions look like. So it just looks like, you know, kind of the middle part here of the driveway is where it gets closest to the wetland, because the wetland kind of curved in. So it's definitely some work within 25 feet there. You know, he said he didn't take any trees out. I mean, the boulders did get kind of pushed on some of the trees you can kind of see here, but it was a lot of like, you know, understory vegetation there, probably saplings, shrubs, things of that nature. So, you know, my take on it is like, you know, you could look at filing an after the fact notice of intent. It could be something that'd be approved. The only real area of concern I would see is that, right, there's work within the 25 feet of that wetland right there.
And again, if I knew anything about conservation and wetlands and everything, I would have came here first. I just didn't know about it. Now I do. Just wanted to clear that part up. Yeah, so like she said, this part here is probably where I push it the most, because the existing wall went kind of like in here and then back out. So, yeah. What I would like to do, I don't know, my plan is to try to keep the driveway there if I can, and if we can do whatever I need to do to keep it that way, that'd be great. Again, I'm willing to work. I'm willing to do anything to make it right.
Becky?
I mean, I don't really have too many other comments. I mean, I would say that, you know, the board, you have to consider, you know, would this be something that you'd approve as an after the fact? Would you have, I mean, there is the work within the 25 feet, which is the no disturb area, which is, you know, usually where the concerns are. You know, when we were out there, we talked about like, oh, is there some way that, you know, you could maybe pull out of that 25 foot there somewhat? You know, some compromise to find that,
Yeah.
you know, giving a little bit more of a buffer, get the big boulders off the trees, that'll eventually probably kill them, so you can keep that canopy over the edge there. Maybe there's some little improvements he can make in there too. You know, it's only partially, it's not paved, it's millings. Millings aren't usually something the commission approve near a wetland. Can you, you know, use those as a base and pave it, or take that out and just do gravel?
What's the
Crushed
difference between
stone.
asphalt and shavings? Isn't it just asphalt?
Well, the
shavings?
asphalt grindings have toxins on them, and that's really the concern they have.
Asphalt has a consistent size, okay?
Yeah.
There's arsenic and poisons in asphalt, but it's contained within the asphalt. When they grind it,
Yep.
they make it into powder, and it's a poisonous powder.
I gotcha.
Simple as that, you know? So you shouldn't be particularly when it's dry, you shouldn't be shoveling it, you shouldn't be working it.
Okay
That's
then.
the worst time for you,
Okay
and
then.
it does, and we don't want it around the water, around our wetlands.
Yeah, good to know. I didn't know that.
Maybe, you know, 3/4 inch stone or something could be an option
Yeah, well,
there.
that was my original idea. But then I figured plowing and stuff, this might be, no.
It was free, right?
No, I don't do that type of work.
No, I'm just saying
No.
that, like, the town gets it for free.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because nobody will,
No, I bought all that.
oh, wow.
So paving
Nobody will usually
companies
take it.
have to
I
pay.
didn't know idea you could get it for free.
Yeah, well, paving companies have to pay to have it removed and properly, like, they turn it back into asphalt. So they can't just dump it somewhere, but
Yeah.
people want to take it.
I was thinking more for plowing.
Yeah.
You know, if I wanted to widen my driveway, but then if I go to plow it and it's 3/4 inch snow, now I'm kind of pushing the stone where I feel like if I was able to compact that down decently amount, that where I'd be able to kind of get snow off of it easier with a snow blower or a plow or whatever.
Comments, anybody? Roy?
No, I think if you can get the rocks off the trees, make some improvements inside the 25-foot zone and maybe take some of the asphalt off, I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I could take it all out, realistically.
You mean the millings or the
Yeah.
stones?
No, I could take all the millings out and then,
Put something in,
If you read about it, it says if you seal over it,
I could seal over that.
better. If you sealed over it rather than,
You can use it as like a base coat and then pave over it. That's where it gets kind of locked down there, but I would just say,
then
think it's easier to take them out.
would be
It would be better to remove.
I think it'd be cheaper to take it out than me try to pave over it.
yeah, and put gravel in.
Yeah, no, I mean, at this point, would I be able to loom it and put grass down or sod down? Or would it just be better to put stone?
What about, I don't know, what's the width you need for extra for your driveway there? Is it 5 feet? Is it 6 feet? Is it 10?
I think the biggest is around 6.5, 7 feet.
What I think would be best is, right, figuring out what it is that extra driveway, it's more than that right now. So if it's 6 extra feet or 7, pulling back the driveway to that, get the millings out of there, do crushed stone if you want, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So something you can
Well,
drive on, you can
I
still
might
plow it.
rather, is what I'm asking is, I might rather, sod down or grass down instead. That way,
Yeah.
winter time's not a problem, and people, it's not like I have a lot of people over at,
Overflow parking, right, you
Yeah,
could do.
that's not often, so if they
Yeah.
park in the grass, it's not a big deal to me.
You even see driveways that have, like pavers or stone with like lawn on each side. I think that if you pull back those boulders, do something like that and add some shrubs along the side to help kind of give like that, buffer on the side of the wetland, especially get the big boulders back a little bit. I think that would be a good improvement. I still think you gotta file an after-the-fact application
Yeah, I
and we
think
should
that's
talk
the
about
thing.
what,
Yeah.
File an after-the-fact application, tell us what you're gonna do, like what we've talked about here, pull back from some of the boulders from the trees.
and
And if you wanna cover it, I don't have a problem with
I
it.
would just say with that, what type of plan does he need to have? Does he need an engineered plan, or can he do a sketch to scale?
Yeah, I think.
type of plan?
scale. I don't,
I'm happy with the sketch to scale, yeah.
Sketch to
We
scale,
don't, we
just,
don't need to get
Okay.
back.
cost of engineers
Yeah.
involved here. But, the big thing, what we're concerned about is we want to make sure that the trees that are there don't die because
Yeah.
they've got boulders resting on them.
Yeah, so here,
Right. And
I might have to get a bigger machine, because I don't know if the machine I own, you can push those big stones. That's not a problem, but the claw, so that's not a big deal. I can get the machine. I'm just telling you what I need to do, and that way I can grab those and place them somewhere else, or just take them off the tree.
Yeah.
And just take them off the trees.
Yeah.
And we'd like to see like a row of shrubs or something along
What,
that
in front of
side.
it?
Yeah, so we want to see in here,
Yeah.
something that's going to provide a buffer for wildlife and stuff. So it's not, instead of seeing this all lawn, we'd rather have that understory that was taken out, put back in. So, whatever,
You can find some native shrubs that can help
Yeah,
you with the list that you can plant some things
Yeah,
there.
okay.
berry-bearing bushes are great because that provides,
All right. Eric, you got anything?
No, I'm good. Seems like he's willing to work with us. I want to thank you for for coming in. I know it can sometimes get confusing, and I'm sure you and Becky can work out what we need to do to get this into compliance.
Yeah, I would just say we should try to pick a date to kind of aim for, there's the July 14th meeting. I think our application deadline is like June 28th, which would give you 26 days to get that into us. There are some steps with filing an application, we can give you the packet and we can, help you along with that.
Yep.
If that's enough time to come up with a plan and get the application it is 3 weeks.
Yeah.
If you think, try to aim for that July 14th meeting to get approval. Is there any, would you like him to remove the millings now or wait until he gets approval from you for the project?
He's gonna do. And
Okay.
we have an agreed upon plan.
Okay. Do you think that for the June 28th meeting, like the
Yeah,
June
that's
28th
fine.
deadline?
So what do I need to do before then besides fill out the app? Should I come up with the?
You
Sketch
do
the
a
scale?
sketch, yeah, sketch
kind of
the scale.
application?
Okay.
Yep, and do the application.
And do the
So, yeah,
What is the application?
notice of intent.
Okay.
File a notice of
I'll
intent.
help you
for it.
with that.
Yeah, we can help you.
Thanks.
But,
We're gonna need,
yeah, there's a packet. And it has to go through the state DEP filing, so you gotta send them some stuff, things like that, but
Okay.
it's doable. There's just a few steps in the process, so, all right, so we'll, look for that application for the 7/14 meeting. Deadline, like I said, I believe it's the 28th of June. All
Good.
right?
All right?
Yep. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah.
That's nice.
See if anybody in the,
Well, it's not a public
audience-
hearing.
Not a public. Okay, it's not a public, you're right. You're all set.
I know.
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Yeah. All right. Where are we at?
I think number 12.
Number 12.
Who's that? What's that?
What's that?
Okay, so this is an item, I gave you some materials. This is an item that is on the Board of Selectmen's meeting of June 21st that I was made aware of. So I will be providing a memo on this. I did want to bring it to your attention. So this is the former Purboy Junkyard at 71 Mashpog Road. It actually encompasses 2 properties, 71 and 99. It's currently owned by an LLC, and they operate under, I believe, it's Kerboy Auto Sales or something like that. The Kerboy name's still there, but the Kerboy family, from what I've seen from my research, stopped operating in 2008. So they stopped operating in 2008. All the cars were cleared out of the property. They had issues, like I put in my information to you. There was some contamination on the site. DEP's been involved since about 2005, I believe. I've done a little more research. I know there was a non-compliance letter issued in 2019. There were some new things on DEP's website where they have some new reporting. So it sounds like they're working with DEP at this time, but I don't know where it actually stands. So there was contamination on the site from, having it as a junkyard that did contaminate wells along Mashpog Road there. Some people have filters, et cetera, on their wells there. So like I said, in CMG Environmental did the compliance work with DEP for them at that time. And in one of their letters, it said that they did close in 2008. A new owner bought the property in 2013 and then came to the town for permits to operate there. They need, certain class licenses for operating auto sales.
Does he have those permits?
It does look like they did at that time issue some permits to them, but what it appears is that at that time, the opinions that were given, from what I can see, because it was a continual operation. I don't know, like I said, based off what I saw, it appears that it ended in 2008. So I'm not sure, I think, the opinions were given based off the assumption that it was still operating.
So what we need to do is find out from the town
Yeah, yep,
what they approved.
yeah. So there's a new operator that wants to go in and operate a junkyard there. But when I was doing some research here, I went back and like I said, by 2008, you can see that all the cars were taken off in the aerial photos, in the back, especially in that back section away from the buildings. And over time, you can see that it grew back in. We do have a perennial stream back there in riverfront area. I mean, I'm not sure, there are some other wetlands near the road. I don't really know what else might be going on there that doesn't show up in the Mass GIS laters. We know that all wetlands don't show up there. It's also priority habitat for state listed species. So it looks like that whole area grew back in, which appears to be partially within jurisdiction, and then it was cleared back out, and now there's cars back there.
So how are you proposing we move forward?
Well, I think that there should be a memo sent kind of raising those concerns, that it appears that there was probably work done without any permits back there. I did ask Natural Heritage, and they didn't have anything on file for the property either. I think there's some concerns, and I think there's concerns if someone else moves in there and, moves into using those
So you sent a
areas.
letter to the selectmen?
I think, right, I would as a staff, send them a memo
Okay.
noting those things. But what I think about that 2008 period of time is that, a junkyard is a land use with a high pollutant load that's only allowed in an industrial area. It is a residential neighborhood. So if they ceased operating in 2008, you have a 2 years that for your grandfathering. So if the new person bought it in 2013 and asked for a license and your transfer of license or whatever in 2015, that time has passed, regardless if the town was still issuing licenses not knowing they weren't operating. So I think they really need to research and see if that company was operating at that time. And if they had closed and gone out of business and weren't operating there, then, maybe they should be considering.
See what you can find out from.
Yeah.
Write a letter and pass it.
Yeah.
It's on their agenda to issue a new class, those licenses you said.
Yeah.
On the
June
June
21st.
21st, so we will not meet again before then.
Yeah.
So they're looking for you guys to comment
This is,
on
They
the
should
issuance
not-
of,
They should not issue. We recommend that they do not issue those.
right, that's why I guess we would look for clarity for this memo.
Yes, thank
like
you,
What
yeah.
your recommendation would be to the board as the conservation.
I think they need to look further into it. And I think there's environmental concerns, so.
Absolutely.
serious in front of the word environmental concerns.
Can we request a status of the
DEP,
property? In terms of
cleanup efforts.
the environmental,
Yeah,
They've
couple
already
of
put cars back on the site.
looks like a
drill a
Jeep-
couple of holes somewhere and sample the soil and figure out where they
it
are.
had to have test holes. This was a major negative.
If people's wells were contaminated.
Oh, yeah.
This is not a minor thing.
Right, and it looks like, when this new company came in, there was no permits issued. I mean, we didn't have a permit issued for them to go in and clear those areas in jurisdiction.
It was
Site
jeopardized.
plan, yeah. So, all right,
Okay, good.
not to issue at this time.
I was just gonna
look
say, maybe
into-
we use the words like, we don't recommend the Board of Selectmen take any action until
It's established.
environmental concerns have been
Assessed,
so fully
Assessed,
assessed
yeah.
by state agencies, local
Mm-hmm.
permitting boards or local authorities.
All right.
Okay.
Good. Hey, Brandon.
You're up. Oh, actually, maybe not. Well, yeah, he can go.
Right, and then we'll do the tree removal. I know, I was wrong. Lenny spoke for a while earlier.
that was a whole beer.
All right, what do you got there? Do I have any open?
Trails Becky.
Yeah. Tommy, Dr. Vinton.
Dr. Benton? Okay.
Fantastic.
All right, thank you.
He's at St. Vincent's. He's right off 290 on your way in.
Yeah.
You guys doing?
Say neighbor.
I had a steroid shot today. So
Oh, did you? Yeah.
feeling a lot better, but
It won't last.
no,
I had that.
no, and it's, you know, definitely down bone on bone, so it's,
So we've told them that the way to solve that is just to get more work done on the trails.
Yeah.
Just stop, you know, get on the tractors. So we have 3 topics to discuss tonight. We can start with Long Pond,
Okay.
and the PowerPoint's probably easiest.
Oh.
Or PDF, did you have? I guess the PowerPoint, that's the PowerPoints, if you're okay with that. Not for this one, but for the other ones, I built it a little bit.
Eric, I'll share my screen in a minute for you.
Okay. So, between this meeting, and I'll put a request in sooner this time, Becky, for next meeting, the Trails Committee would like to come forward in front of Concom to discuss all the properties. Okay? We have 5 or 6 that have wetlands work that needs to be done, you know, so we'll need to submit NOIs. And so tonight, we are looking for discussion on 2 of those, Long Pond and Plimpton, and then we'll take you through our approach on Fisk Hill, is where we're at right now, and looking for some direction and guidance and making sure that we're aligned with what the Concom is expecting on the properties. So with that, is this clicker work or is it?
Yep. It points, it doesn't do
Oh,
this.
yeah.
I have to change it for you, so.
Okay, so we're good. So let's, to start on Long Pond, we'll take you through where we are in terms of the status of the trails and the trails that we're looking for approval from the Concom to build. So if you can jump to the, so right now, if you look at the Long Pond property, I think everyone's, you know, off of 148, you come in right here. Off of Shampoo Road, you know, you come in right here, okay?
And that's Army Corps down there. That's
Army
not our
Corps.
property.
And there's that fishing parking lot right here is also just an existing parking lot that's on Army Corps land. Right now, this entire section of trail, which is orange or red on this screen, I can't even tell, orange, is completed. That exists, the Boy Scouts went along.
Really look red to you, Brandon?
From this angle, it does.
It's no wonder Jake could.
Yeah, I know. Well, I work with him, and he's damn colorblind, so he was
that's
talking.
why I know it's orange.
Yeah.
It better be orange.
So, so this was completed recently with the Boy Scouts on Army Corps land. So it connects all the way in, all the way out to 148. Okay, the area that we'll talk about in a minute for the NOI work is in this area here. These other trails outside of the orange loop, or the orange Long Pond Trail is about 1.2 miles. We're doing this, the little fishing trail exists already here as well. Everybody walks in and fishes now that the gate's up. And then the blue is existing trail that's on Army Corps. We're looking for permission from them, or we have permission from them to put that in place. And then right here, this trail exists, and part of this trail exists as well. So everything basically on the right side of the screen is stuff that exists right now and can be used, okay? In terms of what we're looking for a new trail on the property, when you get to the top, this is an incline here. When you get to the top of this hill, you know, you get to this whole area is what I'd call a mostly flat with a you know, it drains down about here. So there's a nice gradual slope all the way down from the south side to the north side. And what we'd like to do, we've walked it a few times, and we would like to put a loop trail around the perimeter of the flat area up top. You know, not too close to the town borders or the property borders. And then down the middle, because of the slope of the trail, put a couple, you know, light flow downhill trails on the property. You know, it's given the size of the property, you know, we don't think it can handle more than this. We don't want to do more than this. You know, we want to try to, you know, add, you know, another 1.5 miles or so through the yellow trails up top. And so, you know, we can get into classifications and names and so on. We have all of that there, but, you know, for that, I'll pause right now to see if there's any questions around the big picture of what we're proposing.
Where's the sand pit?
The sand pit It's right in here, I think, right, Tom?
That close? Yeah.
Is that the,
I can't see the pointer. For the
right,
So you're gonna have to be
Yeah.
a little more
Oh,
descriptive.
I can't do it. Cursor on it.
I'll do this for you, Tom.
All right.
I think the sand pit's right in here.
That general area, but it hasn't been used in a number of years, so it's pretty
Yeah.
well vegetated over. Again, you know, the CR allows us to use material on the site, so we haven't, we're right now here with a conceptual plan, so we can go forward and, you know, better GPS the routes and
Yeah.
everything, but I don't see us needing an awful lot of material, because a lot of that infrastructure already exists as cart roads and hauling roads out of the property and what have you. So the only issue we have is the NOI issue area that we want to discuss with you, where the stream actually crosses under the trail.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. This is, yeah, we wanted, this is really about just the, you know, candidly, the upper trails to say, hey, you know, is the Concom, you know, on board? Do you have questions? You need some time to think about it? That's fine. I think we're just,
So the only other thing I'd like to comment, because some, if you see the light blue trail, it looks like it goes through the lake. Well, that's a problem with the town mapping, is that line, that's quiggly line, that's the actual boundary line. But where the blue line kind of looks like it dives into the lake for a ways, there's a piece of raised earthen bank that's there. So there's actually, like, that trail would go around that smaller little pond there.
Yeah, if you put this over an aerial photo. I'm
Oh,
sure
no,
it's
you
gonna
can
look
see it,
different.
but this is a little deceiving. It looks like, and that part there is owned by the Corps of Engineers. So this is where, you know, you'll see we've gotten permission from the Corps, you know, for this plan, for how it affects their properties.
Right.
so, and I think the only other thing we'd add that we're saying is that down the road, so one of, you know, last year, we added a gate right here, and that allowed us to clean everything up, get rid of all the, you know, and then drive all the way in, so we can drive all the way in to this area and even further now. The other thing that's a future thought, and this is something to you know, to just place as a seed in the back of everyone's mind, is now that this is, you know, the first year that this section is, you can walk the entire way. One thing that we've been talking about is you know, this shoulder is an aggressively wide shoulder along 148, and it's on the inside of the guardrail, so you're on the lake side of the guardrail. And so you could actually have a walking path that goes around, you know, on here, obviously on Champoilier Road, but you could have, you know, a 2.5 mile walking path that's pretty flat all the way around the lake there. So something that, you know, that would be a third stage for us if we get to that, but it's something to think about in terms of, you know, other ways that, you know, certain profiles of people using the property. So that's where we're at. I think, you know, I don't know if it's something that you guys need to think about in terms of timing to discuss.
What are the distances between the two trails that are gonna come down, like all the trails that come down?
So
I don't have a pointer, but,
between these two?
yeah, all four of those. Just thinking about trail density, is it, you know, 100 feet, is it 500 feet, is it roughly?
I'd have to
We'd have to calculate that.
calculate it.
I'm sure it's separated by hundreds of feet, but
Yeah.
I can't give you a direct
Yeah.
answer on
The,
that.
the intent is not to see someone on the other trail.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
that's why we,
And again, you know, the line that we're using for coloring the stripe, obviously is not to scale to the boundary.
Oh, I know, I just didn't know if you had an idea. I don't know what that
If it were the
distance
scale of the,
is.
it'd be
Yeah.
probably finer than the boundary line, you know,
Yeah.
that shows the property lines.
I would say it's you know, probably a minimum of 150 feet between trails.
Becky, where's the Freeman property
check.
in regards to this?
Any comments?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Roy?
So if you add more trails, how do you figure out the increase of the demand signal, right?
So I think.
And the impact on the infrastructure and where you park and,
Yeah, and that's one of the challenges we run into right now. So what we're trying to do is on all properties, make them multi-use. And so a flat, you know, the flat trail is the first step on most of the properties, get that boundary, you know, the main trunk trail in. and then add some single track for younger individuals or people who are biking and others. So we have varied trails on a property is sort of the approach that we take. In terms of, you build it, they will come. It's one of those things where, having a parking lot down here will be great for us in terms of people that are looking to do a long walk around the lake. I think, right now, we've opened this up to probably fit 6 to 8 cars in there, if you're all tight and being nice to each other. I think that's one of those things where as people start to use more and we see more people parking, then we come up with ways to expand the parking. It's something that we don't want to overdo parking until we have the trails in place. You know what I mean?
And I think that's going to be the challenging here is creating parking,
Well, you get Army Corps parking here right now.
Well, so that's this section right here, if we had a lot of people using the property, that's where we go to the Corps and say, hey, can we put, it's probably half a football field right here, this area, that's flat. But you'd have to go down the ramp and so on. So there's ways to introduce parking if we need to in the future.
The Corps is actually going to install probably 2 to 3 car parking along Shampoo Road where the trail.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So they're that's on their property, and they're going to install a gate and security for that end of the trail. And while they're there, they're going to look at, flattening it out a little better and probably at least 2, maybe 3 cars. And then across the street where a trail continues on their property, southerly, they've got parking there for another couple, 2 more, 3 more cars already. So I think initially with, the both ends, we'll start.
Yeah. It's enough to get people, and a lot of people that
Brandon,
ride.
if you go to the next slide.
Yeah, if you, Becky, you can.
Oh, Becky, yeah.
Yeah. It's,
So this just gives you a little of the length. The actual trails that we're proposing on the CR. Roy, I don't know if you know, but we have 5 different trails design standards. Grand Trunk, Rail Trail, Trek Trail, and then 3 ST, single track trail designations. So here, the Trek Trail is the orange trail, and that's about 3,200 feet. That's on the town CR property. The ST1 trail is 4,500 feet, which is the the yellow trail, everything that you see in yellow. And then the ST2 is the yellow and black and the yellow and white. So each time you go higher number, it's a more or less robustly built trail. So our ST3 is very backwoods, roots, rocks, very, Appalachian kind of trail experience. But the ST1 and 2, we take a little more time, make it a little easier for people to use. Because again, we're not, this is not real backcountry where we're at here in Sturbridge, so.
Sure. Not yet.
Not yet, right.
So
That's all fair.
Okay, so the total on the town property is 1.9 miles, and then with the Corps, it's 0.78. So you add those two to the number, and I didn't do that when I made the slide. So whatever that comes to, 2.6 or 7 miles.
Yeah. Sure.
Let's move it along.
Yeah.
So on this part, so I don't know if you have to, in terms of, do you need more from us on these trails to approve trails like this? The yellow trails at this
Well,
time?
we don't know, where wetlands are on the whole property at this time, and I think, that's gonna dictate what you need to file, I'm assuming you
Right,
probably
but
know
that's-
where those
but-
lines are, but
It's chicken or egg, right? So we need to have approval from the Concom that we can do this before we're gonna go out and map them and
So you're asking the Concom, not as the Wetlands Protection Bureau, but you're asking us as the care, custody, and control people.
yeah.
right, to say, hey, are you supportive of this project?
Yeah.
Once we hear that and you agree that this looks good, then we'll take it back and go in and lay it out in detail and
Yeah,
figure
I'd say
and map them.
Of the concept, right? But if, something comes up and you need to shift things.
Yeah,
but the
exactly.
Concept. The only thing I guess I'd say is that we've been working on we had all the property lines marked on site out there per request of OPACUM so they can do their
Recently?
monitoring. About 2 years ago. However, after that was done, it raised an issue with one of the property owners to the north that we've been working out for quite some time now, and we haven't come to a resolution, so the top of the yellow trail there gets
That's
pretty.
why we're not up here. We know.
Yeah, but, right, so we want to make sure we stay pretty far below where, I mean, I don't have a pointer here, and I
No, I
can't
know
use
it.
it
I've
here.
actually, I know exactly where you're talking
That
about. There's a
whole
stone
top.
wall in there where you could be on either side, and that's where this can, yeah, I understand.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
So, yeah, we're gonna stay pretty far away from that for now.
Right.
Yeah, and I would say too, obviously, we should get a concept plan out to Opakam and see what their concerns are. No, I know, but I'm just
No, we
get that
will,
going.
once Concom is on board, then we go to Opakam. We're not going to Opakam until Concom is on board.
Yeah, and you said the Orange Trail, was that an old woods road that was out there or something? There was something already there?
Yep.
And it already goes through that gravel pit area?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It's all, Tom's driven end to end already, so, in his car, so.
And I know they're putting
And
their
Keith,
care
just
custody.
so the committee knows,
Yeah.
when we approached Keith with this, because it obviously, we wanted to bring it down to Shampoo Road.
Yep.
Having worked for the Corps, I knew that road existed in
Okay.
there. And Keith said yes, because he's got, that area of Corps property was heavily decimated by the gypsy moths. And he's really concerned of fire danger up there now, because a lot of those trees are dropping and falling, and so there's a heavy dead firewood load in there. And so when we approached him, he said, well, can we drive vehicles in there? And I said, fire vehicles, I mean, we're not making this a highway, And he said, well, that's great. He says, if the fire department can get in it with some of their four-wheel drive trucks and everything, so that's why he's putting in the gate. He's working with us cooperatively to,
Yeah.
To do it.
And yeah, and I know, Tom, too, like thinking about that blue trail and stuff, like,
Yep.
as we're getting into like flood easement areas, like
Yep.
there's really, as you start to progress and get into what we're coming across for regulations and stuff, that's where really the extent of permitting for something like this, we'll probably need to pull in an engineer and help with plans and a notice of intent application if we've got bordering land subject to flooding and things like that. So keep that in mind too, that we might come across those in the Grand Trunk Trail. We had a lot of those concerns come up. It's just it's beyond the scope of us filing an NOI versus having someone be able to assist, to show you're meeting those regulations, I guess, so.
Understood. Yeah, no, I think we're on the same page.
All right,
with all
let's-
that. Yeah,
let's move it
next-
along,
Next
guys.
slide.
Yeah.
So the issues, this is stuff that I was just pulling together for the NOI stuff that has to be filed for. So if we jump ahead,
You want me to
Becky?
pass this?
yeah, we don't need to read it all. So right now, there are 3 things that we need to fix on this section of trail, that's the orange. There's 2 culverts that we need to remove sections from. There's a washout, and there's a depression in the area that we need to fill in. And this right here shows you a pile of rock that's in there that we intend to use to do most of this work. So there's rock, a big pile there that we're going to use. So you've already seen the map, so we can go to the next slide. This is Tom's details of it all. So if we, there's more detail in here than we need to go into, but it's all there. So if you go to the next one, right now, this is the north side of that trail. So these over here on the left here, these culverts, we can't get access to the outside of the culverts to remove the old, there's no beavers in there, but all the old blockage that they put in place, we can't even reach with equipment to remove the blockage in front of those pipes. And so the intent is to remove these 2 sections on the north side to daylight the culverts, and then to remove these 2 sections on the south side, which daylights the culverts, but also gives us access to keeping the culverts clean so that they don't have block flow. This past winter, I went in with an excavator and we tried to remove some of the blockage, and we couldn't. You couldn't get in there with anything. So it's part of the reason why we've lost so much of the trail on this piece. So removing those 6 sections and then putting some riprap around the perimeter of the culverts is what we're doing for these. Next. And then the other 2 things that are part of that trail that were to the right of these 2 culverts, one was the washout that we talked about, and the other is this depression where you go down, it's about 6 inches, 8 inches lower than the rest of the trail. And so just to the east of this area here is where the big rock pile is. We're going to take the mini excavator in, break up the rock, and put a heavy base, a 6 to 12 inch stone in, and then go with finer stone on top of that, and then finer stone as the final grade. Those these two slides are the reasons we're here tonight for Long Pond. We need to get across there and have, dry, safe trail.
So this section of the trail, why it's in the shape it is the culverts got plugged by beavers or whatever, and it overtopped adjacent to the culverts, not right at the culverts,
Yeah.
but next to it, causing the washout and the ripples. What we're proposing is just going in there with what's called a stone turnpike. So basically what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put down a layer of large crushed stone, 6 to 12 inches, so that if it ever overtops again, the stone, filters that, stays in place, and we're not just adding gravel that someday will wash back out. We're putting stone in, and we've done this several times when I worked for the Corps at several of our other projects to stabilize road beds, and it works very well. This section of the trail is approximately, the water level that you see there a little bit, this was about a week, these pictures were taken about a week after the Lions Club canoe race. And the Lions Club canoe race, the lake is raised from its normal 13-foot elevation level to 15 and a half feet. And so this was at about 14.1, 14.2 feet. So normally, there's no water on the road or the trail, but, the lake comes down. So that's the other issue, is this section of trail will also be, at least once a year for the Lions Club canoe race, flooded.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it may be flooded other times when the Corps raises, for flood control purposes.
Right.
So again, that's why we're going in with the rock. So, we think it's a good, solid, non-erodible solution to this area.
What about a boardwalk? You don't have to fill the wetland.
Then it floods and floats. How do we anchor it?
Or
We're gonna have to
like a
start
bridge,
anchoring
like
it.
a bridge type boardwalk that's raised up a little bit. And you're not,
So
I'm just
this
thinking
is at-
permitting standards,
But Becky, this is at floods at about 15 feet, 14 and a half, 15 feet. Big East Brimfield Lake is a flood control facility.
Yep.
The lake raises 20 feet. So at some point in time, no matter whatever wooden structure we try to anchor to the ground, it's not going to stay anchored in this area because of the amount of lift and hydraulic lift of the water pressure.
But isn't it going to wash your roadway out?
No,
Water raises?
that's why we're using the larger rock for the
Well,
base.
I'm only saying it because you have to show that you meet permitting standards, and if you're filling a wetland, there's certain requirements the state requires that you show. There aren't alternatives to it. As we know, it's a flood easement area, so there's cuts and fill issues with Army Corps on it. I guess I'm just thinking, and I don't know, I'm not an engineer, are there other options so you can find a better way to meet all those permitting standards, I guess, because that's what they have to look at. Okay, are they meeting, we're filling, how much are we filling here, et cetera. It just seems like it could be a good option potentially, but I don't know.
Let me say it a little differently. Is there an existing spec that the Corps uses to do something like this that you can reference? In accordance with
Well,
Army Corps Engineer 123, we're going to meet
problem
this.
is Army Corps is a federal agency that they don't
I
have
mean,
to
well,
comply
I know,
with
but
like
it's
all
a
the state
spec.
ones
It's just
too.
something that we don't have to create it.
Yep.
It's just something they can reference and that they're going
So
to do it.
I'm not aware of one right now, but we'll discuss it with Keith and see if he can provide some information. All right. Again, for our routine maintenance, when these issues have happened at other Corps facilities, that's what we've been allowed to do. Whether there's a particular spec
Yeah.
that addresses that, I just don't know.
All right, let's move it along.
Sure.
What?
I need to be somewhere at 8:30, if that's possible.
Yep.
Okay, this is over.
So and this is the letter from Keith.
Okay.
So now we're going to go on to the long topic.
What?
Now we're going to go on to Plimpton, so
We got a tree removal policy to go over too, so.
we'll keep it quick to paint the picture for everybody. Just please, Steve, no questions, if you don't mind.
I'm not-
So- Okay, so We did two things here. One was a property overview, and two is, what we're doing for the NOI, okay? And we'll go through quick, Steve, since you have to leave. So this is the trail the trail map as it stands today, okay? You've seen this a bunch of times. If you go to the next slide, Becky, and if you hit space again, please. See the blue and the green up top are the two sections of trail that are approved that are not in place right now. Okay?
Well, I don't know. I guess we'd have to go back and look. I remember we had a meeting a while ago with Opakam and talked about some of the trails out there and whatnot. We'd have to go back and look and see what was approved.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you want, we can, there's other trails that we removed already that were approved as well, but we deleted those because because they went to the east, south side down to the water at the request of Heritage, we pulled those. So if you go back, so this now, you just hitting the space bar back on me, yeah?
This one?
Yeah, so there's a section on top in the blue on the left and a green on the right are the two that create the final loops that are the only two sections of trail we haven't built on the property that were originally approved by Concom, okay? Through Heritage, we removed, there were a couple trails on the lower right that went down to the fish pond. We removed it at their request, to say, hey, okay, fine, we'll pull those out. Now, if you hit the next, the committee has decided to take the purple trail that's there, turn it to the yellow color, and get rid of the two, get rid of the trail on the left that's yellow, because it's just too difficult to maintain. There are too many stumps and too many rocks for us to drive through and keep mowed and keep safe for people to be walking on. So we're gonna get rid of this section of trail right now, and we're gonna rename it to the Plimpton Loop all the way here and get rid of what's called the Hawkspur, and just have one trail on the side of the property, just for maintenance, simplicity, and safety, honestly.
The other thing is that section of the trail we're eliminating, it averages about 70 to 80 feet from the brook. So we're actually getting it, outside of the 100-foot buffer.
So that's some of the basic things that we're working on right now for the property. If you hit the next, and then the final two things is that this trail here and this trail here down to Hamilton, we just need to get in with brush hogs and mow them up and so on, just so there's not a lot of activity on those two right now because of that, for those reasons, as the picture of the property. If we keep going, Becky, please. And then in terms of the property, we're still keeping the mindset that, of the five corners where we're trying to make sure that we have connectivity to other parts of town, whether it's Cedar Street, whether it's Wells, or, Rod and Gun Club, or the trail this trail continues farther north onto other properties and so on, is one of the other contexts of this property. But we can keep rolling here. And then, so if you click again, Becky, please. Two things that we want to just keep in your mind, if you hear us talk about, this is the field that we still think should be mowed. We're close to losing it, not completely, but this is the field that existed when the town bought the property, okay? So we think that as a committee, we think that should go back to a mowed field, and that's something, obviously, we're not carrying custody, but that's a Concom decision. And then this other piece here, this green area, is right here is where the old foundation is for the farm. Across from it, a little ways up, there's a corralled stone wall area with a big rock in the middle. That would be a perfect picnic area. So it's something that we're encouraging for the property, and that's something that the Concom would have to approve, to say, hey, can we put a picnic area in there? It's a perfect spot to walk in, not too far, have a picnic and so on. And next, Becky. Then, right now, as a committee, I think since this is going in front of National Heritage, and they want to know everything that we're thinking about the property and what's going on, the committee is interested in putting single track here and single track here. There's been some, people have been building some of that in here in this section of the property. We'd like to make those two sections official for single track use. And if you hit the next, and what we're saying is, and Tom pointed out that I didn't add the yellow comment, this is all the rest of the area that we're not planning to touch on the property. We don't want to put single track in those areas. We don't want to do anything with those parts of the property. You know, maybe cross one if we're getting to another property, like getting to Cedar Street or something like that. But this is all the stuff we want to leave alone on the property. And many of it, you'll see, much of it is, has a lot of the different elevations and rocky areas and/or water, which are the two things that we're told that the endangered species on the property cares about is rock and/or water. So that's, from a committee perspective, this is what we think is the right thing for the town. You know, whether it's, you know, Concom, Heritage, Opacum agree to it is a different conversation. Okay, so that's what we're painting for the long term of this property.
Where's the rec property?
Where you talked about the fields, you mean?
Yeah.
This. The flat area.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Right, that green trail goes through it
Yeah.
already, but
And
yeah.
And if that stuff, I mean, those, from our perspective, if a field ends up going in there and we lose trail, so be it. You know, that's a different conversation.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on this from a concept of what we're working on? Okay.
Move.
Keep moving. And this is the beginning of the picnic area. So there was, we can just slide through this, but it's, we can skip this. This is just the beginning. So we need 5 crossings on Plimpton. Okay. First one's a shallow crossing, as is the, yeah, shallow crossing. It's seasonal, and it's something that we think would be handled with a culvert because it's so flat that putting a bridge in would be counterintuitive at this spot. Next slide. Same thing on this property. This is, we feel a culvert would go here as well. It's pretty flat when you're coming across, so we'd be putting a bridge in to go over, you know, wouldn't be going over much, frankly. And you can see that the height of the trail bed, you know, is right here. It's pretty consistent, so I think that's what we're asking for on site number 2. If you go ahead, Becky. Number 3, this is a steep-sided, deeper crossing. This would be a bridge. So we'd put a 15-foot by 7-foot bridge in, 3 beams, so that we could drive the equipment across it and mow it and keep it clean. 4th is the culvert is not here. I thought I had a picture of it. It's a dry culvert that is right here. So I will find a picture and send it to Becky. It is, I've never seen water in it. I think it's a drainage culvert that was put in when people were working on the property. When we were mowing the Hamilton Trail, I'd hit it, every time I hit it with the front wheels of my tractor, you drop 8 inches down and then have to crawl back up the other side. But it's just it's a dry culvert as far as we know. And then the 5th one, and you don't tell my wife that she's in these pictures because she'll be pissed. I don't need it. This is this.
It's getting its phone out.
Yeah, this is also a dry culvert. This is one that I've never seen water in it, but it is one of the ones that was, I don't know if it was done when they were logging the property or whatnot, but it's an area where we'd still, you know, flatten it out by putting a culvert in so that we could drive it, you know, across in a flat way. It's much steeper than it appears in this picture. And those are the 5 things that we have to deal with on Plimpton.
All right.
And so that's something that, obviously, I know there's a lot more to this one in terms of the fact that it has to do with the national heritage and everything else and the paperwork and so on. So that's something we understand. But that's what we're asking for in terms of what we need to finish the main trails on the property so that they're all compliant and usable. And I think I'm going to take 2 minutes and show you one more on Fisk Hill so that I'm done by 8:15. Okay, so we've been doing a lot of walking, a lot of running around on this property trying to figure out, we've had such a wet spring, it's been a strange property to walk on. And so this is the red outline is the 4 properties. If you go to the next slide, please, Becky. Right now, this is sort of where our brains are at. We've flagged this green section. We've got a design for a parking lot here. We know the location of the parking lot. It's 200 feet from this property line, and it's 40 by 100. You know, and this has been, we've walked into this point. We know there's going to be a water crossing here, here, and here. At this point, we haven't even been able to get through to figure out if there's any other crossings here and here, because we haven't been able to spend enough time on that side of the property. There isn't a CR in place for this yet. The Concom doesn't have care and custody of this property. We're just coming to you to talk to you to say, hey, all we'd like to do right now is do up until about this corner right here. Get the parking lot in and get the first section of trail built so that we can start to, move the project forward a bit. And then B, while we're doing that, we can go through and assess where the wetlands crossings are. They beat the living hell out of this property when they were logging it. It's really impressive when you get in there, how well they kick the shit out of it, frankly.
Yeah, we brought that to DCR's attention, and they had crossings in wetlands that weren't approved, and they signed off on it, so.
The whole thing, I mean, there are spots where you see logging trucks got stuck, the skidders got stuck, and just,
Yeah.
I mean, it's ugly. So we're a little more cautious because of that in terms of where we're putting trail. We've gone in and we've dug a little here, dug a little there, trying to make sure things are dry where we're at. So we feel pretty good about from here to here in terms of trail, but that's something we want to figure out the rest of the wetlands and see if we have to reroute for different paths and stuff. So we're not ready to put anything else in front of you, and we're not really asking for permission on anything here. We're coming for alignment to say, hey, we'd like to get the parking lot and first section done, and that's it. And then from there, we'll figure out the rest of the property and how we get around.
Yeah, I think you need to figure out too, like, we acquired it last year and no one's really done anything. And since it was with CPA funds, like, there's steps that have to be done.
Yep.
So I think that now that we have a new TA, that's one of the items that, like,
Yeah,
those things need to get, what needs to be done in what order and stuff like that. I would just say, as far as, there is a stream that runs through this property. I don't see you have it on here. So, like, where stream crossings are.
From here to,
Oh,
yeah.
what did I do? I went back.
We're good. You don't have to
Oh.
pull it back up. But that's, we get that, and that's why
Yeah, there's
we're-
some other wetlands too, you know what I mean? So I think,
There are a lot of wet spots and areas that are worse because of the way it was left, that are wet, that would have probably drained a lot better than they did. So that's why we're being very
yeah, I would just say,
cautious.
like, knowing where wetlands are, jurisdictional wetlands are, moving forward is gonna be important, and getting someone out there that knows how to evaluate it too. Because like I said before, they drove through wetlands that they didn't have permission to.
Yeah.
So make sure know where everything is, so.
And that's where, but I think we're aligned on that. I think we're still trying to push forward on pieces so that we can keep the project moving. Because there was a lot of public support to get that done, and we want to make sure that we keep that momentum going. Anything from the Concom for the Trails Committee?
Right. Good work. Very, very ambitious. That's very impressive.
Next,
you leaving town?
Eventually.
Eventually,
It's
huh?
not. It's not. Now, we've got, next week, Becky, if you can, we want to do the same thing for the next meeting, and we'll have content to you sooner for the other properties.
Like, presentations, just like concept plans like this? Okay.
Some concepts, some will get, the ones that we need you to vote on that aren't NOI related, we'll get you before the meeting so you can review and discuss during the meeting.
Yeah, I would just say, for Plimpton, we really need to go back, and we had a lot of conversations with Natural Heritage, what was approved. I know they had some other concerns. I don't remember exactly, so I think we need to go back and make sure that they're on board with that. And we do need a maintenance management plan with them. They had concerns about mowing, et cetera. So we'll just have to go back and kind of really look at that.
Yeah, we'll work through all that.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. I think, yeah,
You guys should sign this before you go.
Guys,
no problem.
good luck, Tommy.
Thank you.
It's really easy.
That's what they
You're wasting
say.
your time with the shot. I'm telling you, shot was a waste of time.
Actually, if, at least for the next, right now, I feel a lot better.
Right, it was
So-
about, I think it was about a
Oh,
week.
yeah.
maybe.
Let me just see.
So the tree removal policy.
What do you guys want to do about that?
Does anyone have any questions on it? I mean, after doing this, kind of Aaron and I were going through it to come up with some scenarios to present to you. And the one thing I thought, that, we left it where we're looking with the healthy trees, that any healthy trees requires an RDA. The only thing I was thinking is that if there was some healthy trees that are in the 100 to 200 foot buffer zone, could we have like a threshold there, like removal of 5 or less can be administratively approved, with the replacements? So that way they don't have to file an RDA for that, and it's a small threshold of healthy trees because we are so far from the wetland. That was the only thing I was thinking afterwards, that.
Does anyone want me to read through an example so you don't have to look through that whole paper real quick, or?
Say again, Aaron?
An example, do you want me to provide you like a quick example so you would see? Okay, so like 3 compromised trees, 60 feet from a BVW. The agent would perform an inspection, confirm that they're compromised status. They would put their application in for an administrative approval. An arborist report would not be required and replacements would be 1-to-1 for that scenario. That's what we're that would be one scenario.
The 1-to-1,
Well, that's, right, that's a proposal in here. So if it's a compromised tree, not their fault, could it be a 1-to-1 versus a 2-to-1? I put that in here and I highlighted it because, right, we
There are
wanted to
some
comment.
that would be 2-to-1 still.
you had like 1.5 centimeters? What was the diameter?
That was like the DBH. That's usually what we use.
That was the
1.5.
DVH for the tree that you have to
That's
put
a
in.
problem, I have a problem with that.
Okay, well, that's what we
size
want to
would you
hear.
like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
What size would you like?
Bigger.
How about pick a size? I don't know.
No, I'm not trying to be.
Right, and I don't know what you can typically get at a nursery. I know we used 1.5 before, and this is what the other town had. And maybe even some other towns too. So is that more of a common size tree that you can find more easily? That, is there a big difference between a 1.5 and a 2? I don't know.
Right. And the other thing, I really think we need to discern the difference between a tree and a shrub, or a dwarf, or
For replacement or just in this policy, like
this policy.
taking it down?
in this policy.
Well, I think at the end there was a caveat that said something along the lines of,
Well, we can put something in there, right? We have in our regulations, we have what we consider a tree, because you allow, some shrub removal outside the 25 foot, so much.
But within our tree removal policy,
Yep, we can add that in there,
we can decide
what you consider a
tree-
tree.
what we consider
the
a
tree removal policy really focuses on the 25 foot of a bank, which would be all of our lakes, all of our ponds, all of our stream and riverfront.
And what we are interested in, from my point of view, is shading the lake to
Right.
cool the lake and to provide feed for the lake.
So the big, it's not really an example, but if it was a lakefront lot and someone wanted to take one tree in the 25 foot, they would have to file an RDA now.
And come in front of you guys.
Because right now we're saying, oh, fill out this application, and then
Yeah.
we're running into what we ran into last meeting, which is like, oh, we don't really think it's not really a tree removal, it's something more.
Yeah, this provides them with guidelines on what they need to file and what you're looking for with replacements, et cetera. So it gives them that guidance in advance. And it helps us, right, they're not just gonna submit a piece of paper tree removal for 25 trees that's not even being reviewed under the Wetlands Protection Act. That's not right.
Right.
It gives that
There
guidance.
needs to be some, yeah,
right,
for
because-
for the residents and for all of us
Right.
sitting here.
So, I mean,
Looks good.
But maybe we should just take it home and
right,
vote on it
we
next
want you guys
time.
to.
I mean,
Ought to let
Come
Barnacle
back.
weigh in on it, because if we don't let Barnacle weigh in on it, he's
Yeah.
gonna weigh in anyway.
Right, but look, I highlighted, this one had said in the beginning, you recognize that a tree which is diseased, dying, dead, or too close to a dwelling or otherwise compromised can pose a danger. I highlighted too close to a dwelling. Do you want that in there? This is what was written in there. So look at those things. Please look at, how we set it up,
But too
you know-
close, yeah, but we'd have, I agree with it completely, except for the fact that I have to know what too close is.
Right, that's what,
That's why everything
right,
on
maybe
here
we
is
just
like
take that right
vague.
out of there.
Yeah.
What?
You know what I mean? That's why I
would be-
highlighted it. I didn't think you guys would
be
like
amenable
that.
to having that removed, that.
Okay,
language
that's,
removed.
that's what
I
I,
mean-
If it was a tree right here, and this is the building, I mean, we would never turn somebody down for removing it when it's that close to the building.
we don't see
That's
that
fine.
very often
Yeah,
anyways.
that's fine.
but-
We don't, it doesn't necessarily have to be spelled out.
Well,
Okay,
if someone's, I think we could take out the too close to a dwelling and it just gets covered under an arborist says that there's a hazard associated with it, right?
Okay, yep.
You know, we want them to say that. So someone files and they follow this, and it's a compromised tree, not within 25 feet of bank or, you know, so that it
Riverfront.
covers a stream, a lake, and it's a compromised tree outside of that area, provided they do the appropriate replanting, which they spell out in their application.
Yep.
That's an administrative approval. Not, and we wouldn't put it on the agenda. What we mean of is administrative approval is like staff can approve that, provided they apply and they ask for those things. So just keep that in mind while you're reading this too. But right, if it's within 25 feet of a lake and it's either compromised or even if it's a, you know, not within 25 feet and it's a healthy tree, then it comes to you as an application. And they still have to do those things, but it comes to the board because, right, we're talking about a 25-foot no disturb area or a riverfront area or something
Yeah.
like that. So, you know, just trying to find a way, like, if it's something that you're gonna approve regardless, then we can do it administratively.
Right.
And it doesn't have to get bogged down for you
Right,
guys,
so,
you
so
know?
we're something for exception.
Yeah, yeah.
Or anything to do with 25 feet of a lake, pond, river in our town, which is a high
Lakes-
amount.
Right, lakes are the big thing here, right? A tree near a BBW that's got a forest all around it is different than the lake or a stream. You know, you're getting close to a stream, so. So take a look at it.
Anything?
The only thing I'd like to see added potentially, just as an additional buffer of protection, within this policy, the administrative decisions upon change of staff, we hope we have you here forever, Becky, but
Yeah.
if you were to move on,
Need to be approved.
it needs to be affirmed and re-voted on by the Conservation Commission.
Yes,
Good point.
Because, you know, this is all good and well if you have a level of confidence in your agent, but unless and until the commission has a level of confidence with any future staff, I think it would be good additional protection to put into the policy.
I agree, and I think that, right, as we start making changes like this, you know, we need to start thinking about some reg changes to reflect some of these things, and that would be somewhere where you could put that in the regs too. But I'm not ready to tackle a reg change, so. But right,
So
put
we
in the
wanna,
policy.
vote on that in the next meeting?
Right. Yep.
Yeah, I think we get this implemented ASAP, be good for
Well, we
everybody.
could do it July 1st. If we voted to redline it or whatever, next meeting, we could put it in for fiscal year 1.
Oh, yeah, because we have June
Yeah.
23rd meeting, so if you, we can make a few modifications here and send it back out. Would you like it well in advance, or would you like it with the meeting notes? I'd like to get it to you sooner than later and give you an opportunity to look at it, not while you're looking at applications and stuff too.
No, it's 2 pages. I think we can go through it as a group
Well,
at the meeting.
3 pages, but.
What? 3 pages, I think, yeah.
Depending on
So-
permitting, we shouldn't have that much
But 3
permitting.
pages isn't gonna.
We say that every time.
I know, but you should try to get some, put your comments together in advance, you know what I mean? Just so we can, because, right, people got places to go and whatnot, it just, you know,
Okay. Great.
appreciate it.
I think that's it.
Any other comments? All right.
Are we done, Becky?
Yeah, the only thing I was gonna say is that Interflu started their study. So that's moving
What are they?
forward.
I went by a couple times, didn't see them there today.
I don't know, I know they're there Tuesday, I'm not sure what other days they're
Oh,
gonna be
really?
there,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, but they
okay.
started, so,
Yeah, good.
yeah.
Yeah, I-
Mr. Chair? Oh, go ahead.
I called Lynn and told her they'd be on her property.
Good.
She was happy.
Good.
Yeah.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
All in favor? Eric?
In favor, Eric
What's the cat-
Gaspar.
What's the cat say?
Roy Bishop in favor?
I think he went to bed.
All right,
Thank you.
thank
Oh,
you.
did you,
Thank you, everyone.
oh, closed? All right, good night, Eric.
This conference is no longer being recorded.
Good night, guys. Thanks again, Becky.
Night.
Good night.